Hello, I'm Gavin Hoey and you're watching Adorama TV, brought to you by Adorama, the camera store that's got everything for us photographers. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to shoot a moody, monochromatic, black and white image of a male subject because, well, we're still in lockdown. So first thing to do, let's get a light set. Let's get a light modifier on there, and I've got something really big. And let's get shooting. So to help me out today, I've got the amazing Polly. Polly is going to be the model for this for now. Yay, lockdown. And I'm going to start with the main light, which is basically the biggest light I could find in my studio. So I've got this rather large white interior umbrella. Could I do this with a softbox? Yes, I could if I had enough space. The idea with that is it's going to be an overhead light. So I'm going to put it on a boom arm and extend it over the top of Polly and angle it slightly back. Something like that. Now, the large light source should give us soft light on Polly, but it should also give us some direction of light as well. That's going to create some shadows. Shadows give us mood. That's what we're after for this setup. Okay, so let's just work out the exposure. I'm aiming for f5.6 and I'm on f5.6. Perfect. Okay, let's take a test shot and see how this looks. And the result is, yeah, not as good as I hoped. Yes, there is light on Polly, but the light on the background, it's a little bit flat. It's quite a wash of light, and what I'd like is some shadows back there. So what I'm going to do is just angle the umbrella back away from the background slightly. The same amount of light should still reach Polly, more or less, but we should get a much darker background this time. Let's see how this looks. Yeah, that is really quite dramatic. Now there is a much darker background going on there, perhaps just a little bit too dark. So I think putting it somewhere like that, so it's pretty much pointing straight down, is going to work perfectly. I've got the back edge of the umbrella pretty much in line with the top of Polly's head, so almost all of this is in front of Polly, so we should get some light coming down here. Let's see what it does to the background though. And that looks pretty much perfect. Yes, there is some shadow on the background, but there's also some light on it. That gives us that sense of 3 dimensions in this image. So once again, we are still in lockdown, which means no models in the studio, so it's up to me to sit in the hot seat. Now, to fire the camera remotely, I'm going to use the Olympus app on my phone, so I just press the button and it takes a picture. Let's see how this lighting looks. Looking at the picture, yes, I know it's not black and white, but don't worry, we'll get to that at the end. The large overhead light looks really good, but a close-up view of my face reveals pretty deep shadows, particularly into my eyes. So that's something we're going to need to fix with a second light. And that's going to be a second Flashpoint eVOLV 200. This time I've got a small reflector and a grid on the front. Now that's going to give me some direction to the light because it only really has to light my face and part of my body. The smaller light source is going to be a harder light, but I don't think that's going to matter. This is a male portrait, and besides, the position is way more important. Now the obvious place for this light for me is over here next to my camera. So if I point it here, that's going to be fine, and then any shadows that are cast are going to come into this corner, into the darkest part of my studio, and they're going to disappear. So that's okay, but there is a bit of a problem. Let me show you. I'll turn off the main light, so we're only going to use the fill light. I've got this fill light on a low power. It's 1/128th power, so it is going to be pretty dark, but it only has to light the shadows. Let's just take a test shot, see what we get. And when I do that, yes, it's dark, it is just the fill light and we can't see the shadows, but what we can see is the lighting on my face is, well, pretty flat and even. And I'd like something with a bit more drama. So what I'm actually going to do is put a light over to the side, a little bit like that. Now, it's only a small shift in distance, but it will have a massive difference in the look of the shot. The downside with this is it is going to cast a shadow onto this wall. I'm just going to have to live with that. Ideally, I'd put a light here facing in that direction, but I don't have room in my small home studio. Now, before I take a picture, there's a quick tip with grids. If you look through the grid and you can see the flash, or you ask your model to do that, that means the light from that flash will actually reach their face. That's the idea. Let's see if it works. And yeah, that looks much better. A lot more drama in that. I can see light in my eyes, even a little catch light. Yes, there will be a shadow on the wall, but I guess I'll just live with that. It's hard to beat post-processing if you want a really good black and white image, but I'm still going to turn it on in the camera. Now, how you do this will vary according to the brand of camera you have, but for my Olympus camera, I just switch it into monochrome mode, and I'm going to go to the curves and put a really hard S curve in here for a really dramatic, high contrast image, because that's what I like. Now, this isn't the final black and white effect, but it will give me a feel for how these look in black and white, and that can be really important because although I've set everything up in color, when you shoot in black and white, things may need just tweaking a little bit. Okay, let's take some pictures like this. Although I shot in black and white in the camera, actually my RAW files still have all of the color information. So when I open them in Adobe Camera RAW in Photoshop, I have a color image. So I'll change it from Adobe Color to Adobe Monochrome to get back to a black and white. And then I'm going to make some general adjustments to the image. I like my black and whites contrasty, so I'll add some contrast. I'll maybe tweak the whites a little bit and add a bit of texture. Because I'm in Adobe Monochrome, I actually have access to the B&W mixer. And here, well, there is a reason I was wearing the red shirt, because I can single out the reds to make those brighter or darker shades of grey. I can use the same trick to make my face a little bit brighter with the orange slider, and then the yellows, well, that's going to be the floor of my studio. So again, I can fine tune that. And that's pretty much it, because there aren't really any other colours in this picture. Because I was shooting overhead lighting, the floor is fairly evenly lit. So to make that a bit more interesting, I'm just going to put a graduated filter on there. And then using the adjustment brush, I can make a few other changes. For example, I think my forehead could do with a little bit of darkening down. And then finally, it's into Photoshop for a little bit of cloning to make my small studio appear a little bit larger than it actually is. And there it is. There's my final picture completed. Now in this case, I set the lighting up specifically for a male portrait, but of course you can take the same basic idea and make it work for everybody. What you'd need to do is to take that small, hard fill light and make it bigger and softer. Now, if you've got any questions or you've enjoyed this video, stick a comment down below. Click on the bell icon and you'll never miss a video right here on Adorama TV, and we have new content, well, pretty much every single day. And of course, click on that subscribe button. I'm Gavin Hoey. Thanks for watching.